and I appreciate you guys taking the time to join me today. We still have a few people jumping in, but today's training, we're going to focus on, as was advertised, our contact management system. Okay. And in the past, I've demoed 4 or 5 different types of CRM softwares. I've been subscribing to them all so that I could demonstrate to you guys the different things that they have to offer. Everything from Buffini software to Top Producer to inexpensive ones like Realty Juggler. And they all have their pros and cons. To me, every software, as I've taught in the past, needs to have 3 key ingredients. Number one, we call them CRM, contact relationship management software. So if it's not building the relationship, then what's the value? You know, and so some software programs, for example, we used to use Pro Agent websites, and they had one. Initially, it was a lot like an Excel database. It was a place to store names and phone numbers, but it really didn't have systems in there that helped you, sorry, just muting some background noise. It really didn't have systems built into it that helped you build a relationship with people. So that's the number one ingredient that you need in your contact management software, is helping you build relationships with people. And we've got lots of softwares that do help do that. Buffini software, I know we've got a lot of Buffini fans in here because we support their programs, and I'm a certified Buffini mentor as well. The next thing that you need, though, is helping track your deals. Okay, so task management, it's part of the automation and the systems that help you perform a high level of customer service consistently, which then helps you get referrals. So if you find some really cool things or great ideas that you want to do for one client, you need to do that for the next client, because those clients will start referring you to their friends and telling them, yeah, well, this is what Eric did for me. And then all of a sudden, I'm not doing that for them. And they go back, not only are they disappointed that they didn't get the same level of service, but they go back to their friend and say, he didn't do anything like that for me. And then that friend that referred you will be hesitant to refer you further. And so having transaction plans, basically systems in place that ensure that you deliver the same high quality service to every client each time. And as you learn new things, whether that's from a training like this, or you go to a seminar, or you read a book, or you're just talking with other friends at a board meeting, having those systems in place. And, you know, so you come back with a good idea, you add one more thing into your system, and then you deliver on that consistently. Building the system takes a while, but it is, in my opinion, vital, which is one of the reasons I haven't been a big referrer of Buffini's program over the years. A lot of you guys, I love his contact management stuff. How he builds relationships is unparalleled, but he's always been missing that ingredient to me that's vital in a contact management software, which is your ability to systemize your transactions. Sorry, I've got more people jumping in. The last thing that I think is important comes more from a broker's perspective. And most agents hopefully don't ever run into this kind of thing. But from where I'm supervising 2,400 agents here in Utah as principal broker, I get to see, unfortunately, a lot of crap. Okay, and most agents will go through their entire lifetime. And I've even had brokers that have been around there like in 35 years of business, but they're running an office of 10 agents. And my equivalent 1 month of office is their equivalent of 30 years of experience, not in office, but you know what I'm saying, right? 1 month for me is like 30 years for them, with the volume of potential complaints and problems that I get to see. And so I want to have a CRM software that helps protect our agents as well. And one of the biggest challenges that we have is clients saying, well, he never told me that, or they never told me this, and I wasn't aware, and they weren't looking after me. They didn't comply with their fiduciary duty. And so having something that records what we said to our clients. One of the reasons I like .loop is it does record that we sent everything to them. We can even have email interaction with .loop. Most of us just don't use it that way. And then lastly, this hasn't been one of my key ingredients, because when I focus building my business off of my sphere of influence, then the relationship kind of takes care of this. But it is nice, and a lot of people are drawn to contact management software that helps you build your business. You know, it's pulling in leads from different websites, whether you're paying for those leads or whatnot. It's pulling those leads in and then starting to nurture those. So now that we're offering KVCore, I'm not going to demo 4 or 5 different types of software and help you choose one, because they all cost money. I'm just going to show you how KVCore does all of these things, and it does it better than those other programs do. So with that said, let's jump over to KVCore and let's start with the very first one. Okay, let's see, I had a chat comment. Oh, we're good. Okay, so the first thing that we have is building relationships with people. Okay, now I want to show you a couple of little tips that you can do here. And by the way, when I'm sharing my screen, I don't get to see your pictures very well. I have to hide it and make it a little thumbnail image so I can actually navigate the site. So if you have questions or anything, then on your dashboard panel, you can click a little button to raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself and ask me a question, and I'll do my best to answer it. I will tell you, I'm learning this software right along with you guys. And so I am not the guru in these things, but I'll share with you a few things that I've learned. So again, we're talking about how to build relationships with people. So one of the key things in building a relationship is you may have different groups, people with different interests. Maybe you have a farming area. We talked about farming just a couple of weeks ago. And you want to have those people all in a certain group. So right here at the top, most of you have a tab. When you go to your smart CRM, you have just all contacts, right? Now with me, I wanted to create a couple of groups. I've got a bunch of agents up here in the north. I've got a fairly good group down around Cedar City in the south of Utah. And so I wanted them in separate groups. I've got Power Team, which are some of the businesses that I work with, the lenders. We've done a training on that as well. The lenders, the electricians, the plumbers, those types of things. I wanted those people in a group. And if you're doing a farm area, you could have a separate group with a farm. Okay, so how you do that is when you've got all your database loaded in here, you've got this filter right here. So what you can do is you can go in here and you can create a filter based on a custom area. So if I go in here and I do, for example, if I've got contact details and I've got a specific hashtag. So let's say that I've got a farming area in Ogden, Utah. I could do a hashtag for hashtag Ogden Farm. Okay. And everybody in that area that I import in there would have that hashtag. So you can see the different hashtags that are right here. These are ones that this one is from the import. And this was a group that I'm actually was working on recruiting. Okay, so these are a bunch of other real estate agents that are pulling up in this group right now. So I can create a hashtag, and a hashtag is basically a filter or a way to define things. So you could have hashtag family, and that would be all of your family members. You could have hashtag sphere of influence, hashtag past clients, whatever. So if you create a hashtag for certain people and apply that, then you could come down here at the bottom, you know, you could apply that filter and that would apply to everybody. And up here also, you can create a quick link. So this little settings button up here next to the filters, you can create a quick link to have it stick up here to the top. And then it's really quickly it's easy to jump to that tab. And then once you've got everybody there in that tab, then you can do a mass email or a mass text to everybody there, and it makes it easier to communicate with people because you've created them with groups, and then your most important groups you've added as a tag up here. So for me, for example, there was a time I was HOA president. I would probably have a group for that, and it would be really easy for me to do a mass text to everybody in my HOA. If I was a soccer mom, and I'm in charge of bringing treats, or I'm just thinking of my own life here, okay? And this last year, both my kids play soccer. So, and we're interacting, saying, all right, the next game's over here, and so-and-so's in charge of treats. That goes out in a mass text. I could really easily create a group for that and put it in here and just manage my business and my life that way. We've talked about farming, we've talked about other things. So that's a quick way to use that. Now I want to jump into a lead. Now, again, I don't know this person very well. This is again, an agent from another company that we were going to send out some recruiting information to. So a couple of things that are important here for you is one of the, I'm going to say magic probably several times. One of the magic parts of KVCore is that it can automate a lot of things for you. So I've talked about building systems in the past, and nothing, there is no other software out there that is better for systems than this. Okay. So a couple of things for your systems to work is the details when you are dealing with your contact. Okay. So a lot of times I'll have a phone number. Like if I go to my profile details, I've got a cell phone, a home phone, a work phone. When I ported a lot of my leads in here, a lot of their cell phones in my other software wasn't categorized as a cell phone. It was a home phone. And so when I go to the timeline, this shows blank, but I know I've got their phone number. So I go over to here and it's down here in home phone. I would want to copy that and put it over into the cell phone thing, because my text feature over here, if I want to send a text, it doesn't work unless there's a cell phone there. So I need to make sure that my information is accurate. Another thing that I can do over here is I can go down here and make sure that their birthday is in here. And if their birthday is in here, or their spouse's birthday, okay, if that's in here, then it will automatically send a happy birthday text to them. And if it's missing their cell phone, it can't send a text, but if it has an email, it will automatically send a happy birthday email. And if you're thinking, whoa, I'm a little concerned with a system doing all these things automatically for me, like I don't know what it's sending out, you do have full control over that. And I'm going to jump down to this right now. I'm going to come back to it in more detail later. But if you go into the marketing tab and then down to smart campaigns and over to, I believe it's in templates. Let's check and see if there's a birthday one. Because I found it in here. Oh, here's your happy birthday email right here. Okay, so this is an email one, and I can click clone, which opens it up and allows me to edit it and personalize it and make it mine. Now, first of all, I don't know how to use these things and add cool pictures and all that stuff because I haven't played with it yet. My assistant's already figured it out. So this one would say, it's your day. I hope today is filled with celebration, your favorite things, and your favorite people. Thank you for entrusting me with your real estate needs. Now, as you guys know, I don't love having on somebody's birthday, I don't love making it about me. This should be wholly about them. Thank you for entrusting me with your real estate needs. I don't think should be in there. This is about me loving on them during their birthday. So I can come in here and I can highlight that and delete it, take it out, and then I can clone that template and make it mine. So if I deleted this, so this is the one that comes built in with the system. And then I hit clone template. Okay. Then I've got my own personal happy birthday email that I can send out. Now, what you're seeing here is things on a company level. You guys don't see that. Okay, you guys will only see, so I've got access on an admin level. You guys are seeing what you have here. So now notice now that I've gone to my personal account, I can see what's available for me on a company level, and I get to see my own personal one that I've copied. Okay, so if I go in here and I look at it, sure enough, that language is out and this is mine and I'm good to go. I can use it. So pretty cool, huh? Let's see, closing that. Yes. I've also got text message templates. So same thing, I mentioned happy birthday. So let's do birthday in our search here. Janelle's asked, does the software input the client's name automatically? Yes. And so let's look at this happy birthday text. Okay. And I can go in here to look at what it says. Just wanted to say happy birthday. I hope it's a great one. Are you doing anything fun? And then I've got my name in here, agent first name. Now I can change this. What you want to do is, you see this little squiggly bracket thing? It's right above your regular bracket on your keyboard. So if I deleted this and I just type, let's see, if I type in the first squiggly bracket, it pulls up all of these things. Okay, so I could do, depending on my relationship with them, I could do agent full name right here, so they know it's from me. And if I wanted to put in the client's name, then I can come in here and put in squiggly bracket and go up here to their first name. Okay, and then I need to make sure that I do a space. And now I've got my lead first name. I just want to say happy birthday. Hope it's a great one. Are you doing anything fun? And then I've got my full name after that. Okay. And again, this will go out automatically to them. And it's pretty cool. So I can create a cloned template of this. And now again, that will show up in my personal box down here. And that will go out automatically for all of my people. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the CRM. So let's go back to that. And I'll come and spend a little bit more time on those other things there later on some of the automations. But I still want to go into how this helps you build a relationship with your people. All right. So we've talked about the importance of the details and how that helps with your automation. So the more details you have in here, the better it's going to work for you. Some of the important details are these tags right here. Are they a buyer, a seller, a renter, a vendor, or an agent? Now, if it's just a regular client, you can leave them all as a default buyer. And then this client journey becomes important. Whether they're a sphere of influence, these are just everybody that you know. If it's an actual prospect that you're working on, a new lead that needs some things, an active lead, you've talked to them and they are actively searching for something. And once they've signed a buyer agency agreement with you or a listing agreement with you, then they need to be moved on to the client screen. Once they go under contract, they would be moved to the contract, and once they close. And again, I would have you guys please mute yourself. There we go. All right, and then once they close, of course, you would move it to the close tab. Now, what the importance of this client journey and the details here, and and the importance of these tabs down here comes into play. I'm going to jump back again to this automation. We go down to these smart campaigns, and I want to show you, these are the ones that are available at a company level. So I want to show you that, for example, I've got a default active buyer. The status is active lead. Now that was one of those statuses that I had along that bar. So if it's a buyer, if it's tagged as a buyer, and I move their status bar to active lead, then automatically this will be applied, okay? Because it's got a trigger set for it. Now you can turn these on or off. That's up to you. If you don't want them to automatically go out, you can go through here and just turn them off, and that's fine. They won't automatically go out. But I want to show you, first of all, how harmless they are. Okay, so if I click on this default active buyer, I went in and I added a couple of things, again, because I have admin level on a company level. And the generic format of it is just a weekly check-in every week. It's not sending things out that you really don't know about. I wanted to add a couple of tasks because you shouldn't be working with an active buyer without a signed buyer agency agreement. In any case, this is required by the Code of Ethics. In Utah, it happens to also be required by state law. So I added that in here, and you should have a pre-approval letter when you're working with them as well. So I added those two things into this company campaign. But if you wanted to add a few more things, you could clone this campaign, make it your own, and then add in your own components. So I want to show you what I've done. And I'll come back into this later, but I made my own active buyer campaign, and I named it Elite Agent Training Active Buyer. And I did it on a company level, so you guys should have access to it. But I didn't start any triggers because I want you to be able to apply it to a lead without having a trigger automatically go out, because mine is much more involved than those. Okay, but before I get into that, that's more on the systems. I'll come back to this later. I want to just show you that, again, these statuses matter and the type of person that it is matters. And so when we go back to our Smart CRM, sorry, I wanted to go to my contacts here. When we go back to our Smart CRM and we see those details, you know, is this a buyer? Is it a seller? Okay, is it a buyer, a seller, a renter, a vendor, or an agent? Those details matter because they are triggers. Along with this client journey, they are triggers for some of the smart campaigns. And again, the smart campaigns on a company level, right now they're pretty dumbed down, but they can get extremely smart. And I'll show you that in a second. But we still want to finish our building the relationship thing. And I'm going to also jump down to the number 3 thing of protecting yourself. Inside of the system, I can send emails and texts. The nice thing about that is it does create a permanent record of that in here, which helps me protect myself. And again, that's just from a broker's perspective. If I want to tell a client something, and I'm telling my agents this on a daily basis, agents will call me and say, what do you think about this? And I said, you need to have that conversation with your client, and then you need to document it. And documenting it would be either through .loop, or you can go through this system, and you would just go in and you would send them an email through this system that says, hey, as per our conversation on the phone, I recommended a couple of different options to you, and you've chosen to go this route. And I just wanted to have this in, you know, I just wanted to document it by email that we had that conversation, something like that. And you could even have that in your conversation. You can say, you know, this is such a serious topic. I'm going to document this by email so that I have a record that we had this conversation. That will help drive home to your contact or your client that what you discussed is important and it needs their full attention. And they need to really take some time to decide what is the best approach that they want to do. Okay, so that's under the protect yourself category. So I'm going to check that off of my to-do list, because now if I'm sending emails and texts through this system, I've got a record of it in their personal file each time. And that really helps me with some of the things that I can do. Of course, I can also add a note and say that I talked to this person on the phone and we had this conversation and this is important. I can come down here to more actions. I can add a task saying, you know, maybe I just talked to somebody and they're going through a tough time. And I want to add a task, a reminder to myself to follow up with them in about a week and check in and see how they're doing, or to see how their vacation went, or whatever it is. I want to add a task to stay in touch with them. Okay, so these are under the more actions down here. And there's lots of other things that we can do with this program, and I'll come back to those as part of building your business later. But for now, I'm going to close this and we're going to go look at step number 2 of, so I'm going to check off building relationships. So this is obviously a software that can help you build a good relationship. It tracks all the details of your client. It has ways for you to interact with your client. It has ways for you to group your clients by interest groups. So if you're really into basketball and you've got a group of people that are into March Madness, you could create your own March Madness group, and you would just have a hashtag March Madness that you would apply. So everybody, for example, if I clicked on this person again, creating a hashtag is as simple as hashtag March Madness. Okay, and I could put enter, and now I've got a new filter that would apply, and then I could apply that filter to everybody in my March Madness group, and we could have a little competition. Okay, so there's a lot of ways to use this software to build your business. And then from this screen right here, I could look for the filter of March Madness. You know, I could come down here to contact details. I could put in that specific hashtag. It would filter everybody out except for my March Madness group. And then I could send a mass text to everybody and say, all right, our competition's starting. Go to this site, put in your votes about who you think is going to win. And, you know, and I'll have a prize for the winner. Or if you're going to do something for your farming area, then you could do something similar like that. So building relationships, check. This software has it and does it extremely well. and it protects you alongside the way. So there's two things that we're checking off. Now we're going to jump down to this marketing, and I've been showing you the SMART campaigns, but the question a lot of you have is, how do I personalize it? Now I want to show you some of the work that I've been doing. I was hoping to get it all done earlier, but I got distracted. It was actually kind of upsetting. Yesterday I was plugging away. I was on a roll. I was really making progress, and then I got called to go to an appointment, which was a ginormous waste of time. So anyways, there's my excuses, but I have made some progress for you. So I'm going to jump in and show you this. Now again, I've created this at a company level, so you should all see it as available for you. Right here, I'm in my personal level, so I can see things that were created by the company, or I can see things that I personally build as well. But let's go into this active buyer one. Let's say that I've got a buyer, and it's described here, action steps for working with new buyers. And I didn't set a trigger here because I don't want, this is much more in depth than just giving you a weekly follow-up. Okay, these are actual things that can go out. And I wouldn't call this a finished product. I would call it pretty close, okay? But it's open for you to be able to personalize it. So when I first got a buyer, I've got a task that immediately is applied, and that is for my signed buyer agency, okay? And this is why I don't have it go automatically applied, because if you've imported somebody in there and you're not, for example, here's the triggers here. It's a buyer, and I could have the trigger start as soon as I say that they're an active buyer, as soon as, as I define them in that lead. But while you guys are learning this software, you may be assigning things and not knowing what it's doing. And I didn't want this to automatically go out for you, because I am creating it on a company level. So it's not an always run. It's something that runs if you apply it to that contact. Because I've got this welcome email that goes out, and this is where the automation becomes fun. Rather than just assigning myself a whole bunch of tasks, which most of these are, I can make some of them emails. So if I go in here and edit this, I've got the template as send a welcome email. And I'm going to read through this really quickly just so that you guys can see some of the things that you can do here. Scroll down a little bit. So I've got dear first name, and again, I can do all of that. I've got my merge tags right here, whether they're for the lead, so it's their first name, or for me, and I can put in my first name, last name, full name, my cell phone, my website, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I can have all of those things go in. I could tag my lender in some of these things with these things that autofill in here as well. Okay, our goal is simple. We want you to have a great experience. Accomplishing that goal is complicated, and communication is always key. So I wanted to send you this reminder about how I can help you. Now, remember, this is as soon as I've signed an exclusive buyer agency agreement with them, this would automatically go out, because I've signed that, and I go home to my computer and I apply this email sends out automatically. My team will be working together to help you. That means you may receive contact from my different team members, but we all work together to make sure your experience is the best possible. Buying a home can be confusing, and there are many different people that play different roles. My team will be working closely with these people to make sure they get their jobs done well and on time. I will also recommend some of my favorite providers, because they've proven themselves to me over many transactions that they can get the job done well. I don't receive any kickbacks from those I recommend. Let me be clear, you're welcome to use any provider you like, lenders, title, inspectors, etc. So if you choose somebody other than who I recommend, please get me their full contact info so I can work with them on your behalf. Using out-of-date websites is also a common frustration of buyers. I recommend using my site for your searches, and here's where I've put in that link. So no matter whether I'm writing this or you're writing this, it would put in your website. It will ask you to register, but that info only comes to my team, and you won't have information sold to a bunch of other people, as is common with most other sites. My site is as current as possible and will give you the best results. Expectations. This is where communication is key. Please don't hesitate to voice your expectations of me and my team. We're here to serve you. So if there's a need or a question you have, we're here for you. Lastly, we build our business primarily from referrals. Please, if you know anybody wanting to buy or sell their home, let me know, and I will take great care of them. Yours truly, Agent Signature. And this all goes back to when you first set up yourself. So I'm going to cancel that so I don't send it out. When you come in here, and hopefully you've done this, under the My Profile in the top right, you've got a spot here, and this was all part of the setup process. Okay. And so you've got your contact information here, websites, some social media stuff. You've got your MLS IDs. All of that stuff is set up to make this work. And then you've built your signature. So when it says hashtag agent signature, all of this goes in there. Okay, pretty cool. So I'm going to jump back to the smart campaigns, and let me show you. Let's say that you don't have a team. Okay, so I wrote this email. But let's say that you don't have a team. Well, again, you can clone this campaign and name it your own personal campaign. And then you'll have the full ability to edit and change all of these. So you could go into this email here, you could edit it, you could personalize it and make it your own. But I'm trying to give you something to launch off of so that you don't have to do all of this hard work yourself in creating some things. And, especially if you're a new agent and you don't know what to say. Then I've got a lender introduction. This is also an email. This would go out on day 1. And so the lender introduction here is, thanks for having me help you find a property. One of the ways I can help is by introducing some great industry professionals. I would recommend reaching out to my lender. And again, I can put in all of these things: lender full name, lender cell phone, lender email. Now, quick question for you is, do we have lenders in here yet? No, we don't. We're working with attorneys, RESPA attorneys actually across the country, to make sure that we're RESPA compliant, because our lender partners can come in and help us. They can basically share the cost of this because they're getting marketed in some cases automatically with some of these systems in here. And so they can legally help share the cost. We're just trying to make sure with RESPA attorneys that is done correctly and legally so that it's done right. So if you're thinking, well, I'm just going to add my own lender, until we get that done and make sure we're doing it correctly, then we don't have lenders input into it yet, but it's something we should have in the next few weeks because we have been actively working on it for the last month or so. If you wanted to just, instead of doing the tags, you could just type in your lender's name. If you have a favorite lender, you could just type it in. That's just fine. Okay, but tagging them in this can also set up triggers for your lender as well. All right, the rest of these are just tasks. So we've got setting up alerts, which is a task. It's actually a text that goes out automatically saying, hey, send me your preferences of things. And then it's just weekly check-ins from there. So this is a very simple campaign. It gets much more detailed when we go down to the under contract one. Now this buyer, they're not active anymore. They've found a home and they've went under contract. So now we would apply this campaign once the buyer goes under contract. And again, I've got most of these set up as tasks, but you could automate these with emails. And I have not done that for you. I wanted to set the groundwork for you. And there's a whole bunch of different things down here that I've set up for it to do. Okay, so I've built a system for you, but it is not finalized. It's something that you can customize, personalize, and make it your own. So for example, one of the first things that happen when it goes under contract is earnest money. This is a reminder to you: notify buyer earnest money is due within 4 days, provide title company locations, and send the earnest money receipt form to title so that they can sign that they've received it and send that back to you. I could very easily make this an email. Okay, and I haven't done that for you because, again, you're not using the same title company I am. What I would do is I would come in here with an email. And again, if I wanted to add an action up here, if I were making this my own, I could add as an email, and I could come down here and I could put in the hashtag for the client, first name, congratulations, we're under contract. So okay, and then one of the first things we have to do is we've got to get our earnest money turned in by a certain date. And here's the locations of my favorite title company. You just need to drop it off there as per the contract. And I'll be contacting them and letting them know that, to look out for you coming in. Please let me know when you plan on dropping it by so they can look, whatever. I could build that email out and I could have that go out automatically. And it can go from the agent to the contact. And I could have it set to run immediately, or I could have it set to run again on day one. So I'm going to cancel that right now. Changes won't be saved. So anyways, I wanted to show you, I built the task here for you, which is a reminder to get earnest money in. Again, this is for you new agents who might feel like you're getting in over your head. There's so much stuff that you have to do. How are you going to possibly remember all of these different tasks? Well, I've put it in here. And then for you experienced agents that say, okay, I know these things and I want to systemize it a little bit better. You could take this task and you could turn it into an automated email by adding that action. And then you don't even have to think about it. This goes out automatically. Okay. Scheduling the home inspection, you could do the same thing. That could be an email that goes out automatically. It could be a text that goes out. So when I add an action, it can be an email or a text, and those things can go out automatically. Hey, we've got our home inspection is one of the first things we need to do. Here's my favorite home inspector. And I could set that up, please contact them ASAP and get this scheduled. I usually have my clients schedule the home inspection because they need to be there if at all possible. So I could automate that task as well. Sending a copy of the purchase contract. This in other states, you don't use our terminology. REPC is real estate purchase contract. Send real estate purchase contract to lender or title. In fact, I'm not going to edit it. You guys know what it means. So I was just going to edit it because some of you use different terms than us, but hopefully you understand what that is. So once we go into contract, lender and title needs to have a copy of everything. So this is just a reminder for me to do it. And then I've got different forms for the buyer. And if I click on it, it reminds me, okay, I've got to send over the due diligence, the home inspection, and the wire fraud forms. So basically, these are reminders to me of all the things that I need to do for my job. Now, I've calculated this off of a 30-day closing. So again, you could change the days as well. Okay, I've got a few things that happen after closing. Make sure I got paid correctly on my commission, add the client to Boomerang. And if you don't know what Boomerang is, I put in the website, boomerangdm.com, and you could go in and check it out. Ask for a customer review on either on my website or on Google or whatever you want. So I've built this out for you, and you guys are welcome to use this campaign. And you don't have to completely start from scratch. So I'm going to stop sharing right here. We're going to take a little break from this and say, okay, somebody said, do we use this instead of .loop? No, .loop is where we manage our transactions and stuff. And this actually integrates with .loop. So if I'm in a client field, one of the tabs along the top is transactions. I can click that button and it will actually have a link to the loop. So right from here, I can click and it will take me directly to that loop for that client because the two are already married within our system. That was part of the programming that we were working on when we signed the contract with KVCore back in December. And it took us 6 months, and a lot of that programming stuff was being done in the background. So that's how you can do your single user login from Elevate. It's how .loop is automatically synced with it as well. It's how all the MLSs are working, because all of that programming done all across the country was something that we were working on for you guys. Okay, any questions so far on those things? We've talked about building relationships. We've talked about how to systemize this. I've shown you a couple of the systems that I've created for buyers, and when buyers go under contract, I am going to be working on a system for listings. So when you take a new listing and then when that listing goes under contract. So I'll be building those out as well over the next few days. And as they come available, I'm going to be building those on a company level. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, you'll be able to see those. The key thing is that hopefully you've seen in this kind of crash course, how you can go in and personalize that like every single one of those messages you could personalize, whether it's the birthday message or the, hey, I want you to reach out to my lender message or whatever it is. You can personalize everything in this system. Now, what I would recommend you do, because again, there's a lot here. There's a lot to unload. And some of you, what was one of my agents called it plasticity, the ability of the brain to learn new things slows down as you get older. And so that's what he called it, was plasticity. Some of you might be looking at this thinking, holy crap, there's no way I'm going to be able to learn all of these things. What I would recommend you do is, we've talked about your ideal week in other trainings, right? So you take your ideal week, and wouldn't it be ideal if you did have a system that ran these things and automated some of these things for you? I think that would be ideal, to have some of those things, to just have this smooth system and just know that things are being taken care of. It's almost like having an assistant. Okay. So, but building the system is what takes time, and it could be overwhelming. So what I would do if I were in your shoes, and obviously this is something I've been working on as well, because I haven't learned these things, you know, they didn't download it into my brain. I've been in studying it and trying to figure it out. Okay. What I would do is I would set aside 1 hour each day, or a half hour each day, depending on how busy you are, where you say, I'm going to work on systems. Don't let this overwhelm you. Don't let this stop you from doing your business. What this will do when it's finished is kind of like that pipeline concept. Okay. Now that you know about this, this is like building a pipeline. But for now, I still have to contact all my clients. I still have to reach out the old-fashioned way, because I don't have anybody sending automatic birthday texts for me. So I still have to do those things all on my own. That's the bucket hauling aspect. But while I'm hauling buckets, I can be building a pipeline in the background. I can work on these systems to get them in place. And over time, my life will get easier. My business will run smoother, and I'll be able to deliver on a more consistent level with all of my clients. So I would set aside, again, a half hour to an hour a day on building a system. And I would just say, okay, today I'm going to work with my buyer system. And Eric's already built me a template. So I'm going to go into that template. I'm going to hit clone, and then I can personalize everything I want in there. And I'm going to spend a half hour on doing that today. And then as you know that this tool is available for you, you'll hear things because you'll be paying attention now. And I can't remember what they call it. It's kind of this awareness, reticular something.
Reticular activator.
Reticular activator, yeah. And it's this concept of, hey, I want to go out and buy a new car, and I really like this. I really like the Tesla. And now all of a sudden I'm noticing all the different Teslas on the road because I'm paying attention to it. Okay. As you are building this system, you're going to have this reticular activation. And as you hear things from other agents, as you see Facebook posts that they do, you're going to think, that's cool. I want to do something like that. And you could come back and add that to your system. And in a lot of cases, you can automate it so that it just automatically happens. In other cases, you just add it as a task, as a reminder for you that this is something cool that you can be doing for your clients. But it's something that's going to be applied every time you apply that task plan, and you'll be wanting to apply that task plan to every buyer so that you deliver a similar level of service to everyone across the board. Okay. And then last thing that I wanted to talk about, do we have any other questions on this? So we've talked about building the relationship. We've talked about building the system. We've talked about how this can protect you. Those are the three key things that I think we must have. And then this gives an extra thing that very few of the transactions of the contact management softwares do offer, which is the ability to build your business. Okay. Most of them kind of focus on one of those first three. There are a few software programs out there that do help you build your business. So I want to shift to that. But first of all, do we have these three key things down? Does anybody have questions on those?
Eric, I have a question.
Yeah.
You said that we could link directly to .loop from KVCore. Where is that?
Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, so if I go to my contacts, sorry, it takes just a bit to load. And I go to transactions up here. If I had any transactions going on with this contact, then it would actually give me a link here to my loop. Okay, maybe it's under files. No, I think it's under transactions. Anyways, I don't have a good example for you on here because I don't have any active listings right now. Okay, but I have seen it. I know it's there.
Okay.
And there's a link for it. And again, a lot of these things only work when I've taken the time to go through my profile and made sure that everything in here is uploaded. But as far as the dot loop thing, I think that's tied in automatically for it. So again, I'm learning the software along with you guys. So forgive me for not having a better answer for you on that, Rebecca.
That's okay. I was just looking for it and I couldn't see it, but that's why I can't see it either.
Do you have any clients that you have active?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't have active loops right now with my clients. So if I did, then I could share it with you. The last thing that I want to share with you is building your business. So if I go back to my CRM, ways that you can use this to build your business. Obviously, you've got this marketing thing and you've got print and presentation, things like that. I want to show you how you can do this. Oh, and then also there's this marketplace. There's different add-ons that you can do where you can pay for leads and have them all done from here. But I want to show you from this file how I can do property alerts. Okay, I can do active campaigns. I can build presentations from here. I can do home evaluations from here. So for example, if I've got a client that wants to start looking at homes in a certain area, rather than going to the MLS and building it there, if I build it here, then anything that they start clicking on, I'm alerted to. It shows up on my dashboard. So I can come in here in this and I can build the area based on a map. So I can use geographic areas. They say they're interested in a certain neighborhood or a certain city. I can start typing that in. It'll pull up the city, the county, the zip code, whatever. How many bedrooms and bathrooms, different keywords if there's things specifically that they're looking for. And then how often does it come out? As soon as that listing comes active, because this is tied directly to my MLS. Does it just come out once a day, twice weekly? Or is it somebody that I'm just trying to nurture and tease along with a once a month type thing? Okay, and I'm sure all of you can think of clients right now where, you know what, that might be good. I've got a cousin that's, they say they're not quite ready for it or they've got a new job, but I want to send out a teaser to them once a month. So I'm going to let them know, hey, I've got this set up. And I could build this alert. And again, I'm not doing it through the MLS. I'm doing it directly through my client tab here. And it runs and it's tied directly to the MLS. So the information is current and it's accurate. But now when sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit, but now when I log into my dashboard, I can come down here and I can see right away, oh, here's some of the things that people have done. You know, they've looked at a website, they've interacted with me, whatever. Okay. Another thing that I can do with this is I can assign daily calls to myself. So if I come up here and let's see, where did I do this? I think it was on my profile. So if I go to my profile and I go to settings right here, I can say, you know what, every day I want this system to remind me to call 20 people or 10 people or whatever. And I'm not going to do this while I'm on vacation. Okay, so I can turn that off, but I want it to send me an email every morning at 8 a.m. that says, here's the 20 people that you need to call today. And those 20 people, by the way, will be coming from prospects, new leads, or active leads, or you could make it from your sphere of influence or your farm or whatever you want it to do. But those are the statuses that are going to get calls. And it's going to automatically create a call list for me each day. And I'm not going to work on weekends, so I'm going to turn it off for weekends. And I can have that setting there so that when I come over to my dashboard, it automatically tells me who I need to call that day. And it will, because I've marked it to be contacting people who are leads. If somebody has been shopping on my website, they're automatically tagged as a lead, and they'll come up as one of the first people that I need to call off of my dashboard that day. So when I talk about using the system to generate business, I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. I can set up property alerts for people. I can set up home evaluations for people. I can have it automatically remind me to call a certain number of people a day. So if I've got a goal, let's say I'm part-time and I've got a goal of making 5 contacts a day or 10 contacts a day, which should be your goal if you're part-time. If I'm full-time, 20 contacts a day should be your goal, maybe 10 to 20. Okay. And every one of you should have that set up as a daily reminder. And what this system does is it helps you stay focused. It helps you stay focused on not only the people that haven't had a contact. So if I pulled up my my system there and we looked at the 20 contacts it's assigned me for today, because this database is new, it's going to assign me them because they've never been contacted yet. So you've got a database. Let's say you've been doing this for a long time and you've got a database of people. It's going to, first of all, help you reignite your contacts with some of those people. It's going to help you clean up your database. It's going to help you, if you've been a fan of Buffini, you can do ratings like your A, B, C, D ratings for past clients or your sphere of influence. And those, by the way, you could do in hashtags. You could do a hashtag A, hashtag B, hashtag C, and rate your sphere of influence in that way. But this helps you not have a sphere of influence or a database that's not working. Okay. My database is like 6,000 people, and a lot of them I don't have an existing relationship with. So I'm using this to go through and do a lot of cleanup from years of not having a good system that helped me stay in contact. So I'm deleting a lot of people. I'm combining people because sometimes my database has a husband and wife in there separately and I need to combine them. So I'm doing a lot of cleanup on a daily basis with mine. And it's an ongoing project. But what I don't want to do is get so caught up in for example, in the building systems that I actually don't contact people. So just as a reminder, you still have to do your business, and your business is always contacting people. And as you do this, you're going to see things start to happen. Okay. We've had agents who have taken listings and I've asked them to share their stories on my Facebook page. They've taken listings and all of a sudden they're getting people hitting their website, and their website, KVCore, is automatically interacting with those people saying, hey, I noticed you're on my site. What other information would you like to have? And they, not knowing it wasn't a real person they were interacting with, sent an email saying, well, we're kind of looking in this area. And now the agent is tagged saying, hey, you've got somebody actively looking in this area. They need to be reached out and contacted. And so the system is generating business for them automatically. The other thing that it's done for me is, as I'm going through and cleaning up and talking to people, I've sent referrals out from this already, because I've had my sphere of influence that said, hey, actually, I'm living in Las Vegas right now, but we've been looking at a recreation property in this area of Utah. And it's not an area that I cover, but I know agents there. So I've been able to send that out and get a referral from those agents. So just the act of me saying, okay, I've got 20 calls I need to make today, and here's the people I need to do. I'm taking what was a dead database and I'm bringing it to life. All right. So you guys may be in my shoes, whether it's years of neglect. Okay. Because I've had, and I honestly have neglected that part of my business because I've been so focused on the broker responsibilities or the ownership responsibilities that I haven't done a great job of staying in touch with the past. And I've got this massive database that's really cumbersome. And so That's my job, is cleaning up. If you're a brand new agent and you've got like 20 people in your database, you're like, hey, if I called 20 contacts a day, I'd be done in one day. I don't know what else I would do from that point on. You might be in that area. Okay. And if that's where you find yourself, in some ways, I'm like wishing that were me, because I'm like, good, I could actually start over fresh, and I could make sure that all this information was accurate and current. But if that were me, I'd be going through my phone. I'd be saying, okay, I got 20 people in my database, but I got 100 people in my phone, and I'm going to start calling people in my phone. Or I've got my neighbors. I went out just to prove that I could do it, because I do this occasionally. Okay, I'm afraid of heights, but I jumped out of an airplane a few years ago to prove that I could do it. Okay, one of my least favorite activities is knocking doors. I've talked to you guys about it. It's hard work. Only 4% of agents are willing to do it. I went out and knocked doors with my assistant this last week. We knocked 2 doors and filled up an hour's worth of time. We did an impromptu buyer presentation on a doorstep. Okay, so it works. All right, there are good things that happen when you pay attention to your business, and when you use this software, it helps you do that. I appreciate you guys joining me today. I'm going to stop the recording now.